In life, there are moments when the weight of our struggles feels unbearable. We wake up each morning carrying invisible battles that nobody else can see, dreams that seem too far away, wounds that never fully healed, and fears that whisper we are not enough. And yet, in the middle of this silence, something small but powerful can ignite within us. That spark is hope. Hope is not just a word. It is a force, invisible yet unshakable, capable of lifting us from the darkest valleys and guiding us toward the light. This is the story of someone who almost lost everything, but discovered the extraordinary strength that hope brings when you refuse to give up. She was just an ordinary girl, living in a small town where every street looked the same and every day felt predictable. But deep inside, she carried a dream, one that seemed impossible for someone like her. Her family was poor, opportunities were rare, and every time she shared her vision, people laughed. "Be realistic," they told her. "People like you don't achieve things like that." Their words were sharp, cutting into her confidence. But late at night, when the world was quiet, she would close her eyes and imagine herself standing on a stage, her voice carrying to thousands of hearts. She didn't know how it would happen, but she clung to that image like a lifeline. The journey, however, was not kind. Rejection became her daily companion. She sent applications, but doors closed before she could even step inside. She tried to perform, but sometimes no one showed up to listen. Nights ended in tears, questioning whether her dream was foolish, whether she should stop before wasting more years of her life. And yet, when her pillow was soaked with disappointment, hope whispered gently, "Just one more try." That whisper became her anchor, a promise that tomorrow might be different, that one yes could erase 1,000 no's. One afternoon, after a particularly painful failure, she considered giving up completely. She sat in her room, staring at the wall, convinced that her life was destined to be small. But then she remembered a moment from her childhood, her mother's trembling hands holding her after their house burned down, saying softly, "We have nothing left, but we still have hope. And with hope, we can rebuild." That memory hit her like a wave. If hope could rebuild a broken home, perhaps it could also rebuild a broken dream. With renewed strength, she rose. She decided that no matter how many times life pushed her down, she would stand again. She invested in her craft, practicing for hours while others slept. She knocked on new doors, even if she feared rejection. Slowly, the universe began to respond. A stranger noticed her passion and offered her a chance to perform at a small event. That single opportunity, born out of persistence, became the beginning of everything. At the event, her voice shook at first, but then something happened. She saw people listening, not just with their ears, but with their hearts. She watched tears roll down someone's face, felt the silence of a crowd deeply moved. For the first time, she realized that her dream was not only about herself, it was about touching lives, giving others the same hope that once saved her. That night, as applause filled the room, she felt something she had never felt before, proof that her struggles were not in vain. Success did not come overnight. The road remained full of obstacles, but she walked it differently now. Each rejection was no longer a reason to quit, but a stepping stone towards something greater. Hope had transformed her pain into power. And little by little, her name began to spread beyond her small town. Opportunities that once seemed impossible began to find her, not because luck suddenly appeared, but because she refused to stop believing. Years later, she would stand on a stage just as she once imagined, looking at thousands of faces who came not only to hear her voice but to feel the fire of her journey. And in that moment, she knew the truth: hope is not something you wait for, it is something you choose. And when you choose hope, you unlock a strength you never knew you had. This story is not just hers. It belongs to anyone who dares to dream despite the noise of doubt, to anyone who keeps walking even when the road feels endless. Hope is not a gift reserved for a few, it is the most powerful force we all carry within us. And if you are listening now, maybe life has been heavy for you too. Maybe you thought of giving up. But remember this, the story is not over. Hope is still alive, waiting to carry you forward. So take this as your sign. Whatever you're facing today, whatever dream feels impossible, do not let go. Tomorrow could hold the moment that changes everything. And when it does, you'll look back and thank yourself for not surrendering. Because in the end, the power of hope is not just about reaching your dream, it's about becoming strong enough to never stop chasing it. There is something extraordinary about the human spirit. It bends, it breaks, but somehow it still finds the strength to rise again. The story we just heard is not only about one girl chasing her dream, but about all of us who have ever faced walls so high they seemed impossible to climb. In our everyday lives, we encounter countless reasons to give up: the job application that gets rejected, the relationship that doesn't work out, the financial struggle that keeps us awake at night. Each of these moments whispers the same lie: this is the end. But the truth is, endings are often disguised beginnings. Hope is the bridge that carries us from despair to possibility. It doesn't erase the challenges, but it transforms the way we see them. When we choose hope, we begin to see failure not as a tombstone, but as a stepping stone. And this shift in perspective can change the entire course of our lives. Think about how often we settle for less because we fear disappointment. How many times have we stayed in a job that drained us, a routine that suffocated us, simply because stepping into the unknown felt terrifying? The girl in the story could have accepted the opinions of others who told her to be realistic. But she dared to listen to a different voice, the quiet one inside that believed she was made for something more. We all have that voice, but it often gets buried under the noise of society, comparison, and fear. What if we stopped silencing it? What if we trusted that inner whisper that tells us to keep going? Every great achievement in history began with someone choosing to believe when no one else did. In our own lives, hope becomes the fuel that pushes us to send one more application, to practice one more time, to take one more risk. And sometimes, that single act of persistence is the very thing that changes everything. The lesson here is that hope is not passive, it is active. It demands action, courage, and resilience. Hope without effort becomes wishful thinking, but hope combined with action becomes transformation. In your daily life, this could mean daring to speak up in a meeting when your ideas feel small, or signing up for a class that pushes you out of your comfort zone, or simply choosing to wake up tomorrow with the belief that things can get better. Small actions, fueled by hope, compound into extraordinary results. And even when the world doesn't immediately reward us, those actions shape us into stronger, wiser, more resilient people. The truth is, the greatest reward of hope is not only in achieving the dream, it's in becoming the kind of person who refuses to surrender. Yet, we must also understand that hope is contagious. Just as the girl's song touched the hearts of strangers, our own courage can inspire those around us. Every time you choose to rise after falling, someone else notices. Every time you keep walking when it would be easier to stop, you light a path for someone else who is struggling in silence. We may not always realize it, but our persistence has the power to give hope to others who are about to quit. Imagine how different the world would look if more people chose to act from hope instead of fear. Imagine how much brighter our communities, workplaces, and families would be if we believed in the possibility of something greater and helped others see it too. Your choice to keep going is not just for you, it's for everyone watching your journey. So as you reflect on this story, remember that hope is not a distant star reserved for the lucky few. It is already within you, waiting for you to claim it. You don't need perfect circumstances, unlimited resources, or constant encouragement from others. What you need is the decision to believe that tomorrow can be better than today, and the courage to act on that belief. Life will continue to throw challenges your way, but each challenge is an invitation to strengthen the hope inside you. And one day, just like the girl in the story, you'll look back and realize that every setback, every tear, every no was leading you toward the yes that would change everything. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this video. I hope this story has touched your heart and reminded you of the incredible power of hope in your own life. If it inspired you, don't keep it to yourself, share it with someone who might need this message today. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss more stories that will uplift and motivate you. Leave a comment below sharing your own experience of hope and resilience. I would love to hear from you. Together, let's create a community built on courage, persistence, and the belief that no dream is too far when we hold on to hope.